Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, here is the homework for Unit 5, Days 1 and 2. Now, what we're going to do, I'm just going to give you clues as to how you set up your problems before solving for the solution. So for problem 1, what you do, look at your first ratio, 24 over 56, or 24 to 56. That's what the colon represents. Now, if you want to set it up as a fraction, you take your first number 24, put it on top. Take your second number 56, place it on the bottom. And then you're going to set that equal to, similarly, 3, that's your first number, goes on top. Second number, we don't know it, put it as an X, put it as a blank. And then what you do is do your diagonal or cross multiplication. So you can take your same, I'm just going to bring over this proportion, write the same thing, and then, because we have more room, and then we do our diagonal multiplication. So for instance, 3 times 56, or 56 times 3. And you're going to set that product equal to 24 times X. And then 3 times 56 is 168, I believe. And that equals 24x. And then, of course, divide both sides by 24. And I believe your answer will be, oops, that's a 4. 24's cancel, 168 divided by 24, 7. Now, if you wrote it as x, and your answer is x equals 7, that's fine, or just plain old 7. Then you need to do the same thing, similar idea for the other 3 problems. Again, notice the setup. First number, fraction bar, second number. Equals first number over the blank, second number. Problem 3, 5 over 9 equals, this time the blank comes first, x over 72. And then for the last one, move all this information. And for this last problem, if blank is first, so use the x as the blank over 9 equals 21 over 27. So now for your answers for this first problem, you're going to list it as x equals 7 or 7, x equals whichever number, and so on. You need to give me the correct order. So that's the purpose. Separate your answers by way of comma. So it'd be x equals, oops, I shouldn't do that. And so on. So for this first answer, you get 7. 7's the first one, but then you have to do x equals, or just list the number, comma, x equals, or number, comma, x equals, or whatever the last number is. All right, for number 2, similar. What you're going to do is basically the same thing as number one. Now it's just a little different. They're going to give you the proportion. And then we do have some room. So you do your diagonal multiplication. So it's 20 times 5. And you set that equal to 50 times h. So then 20 times 5, 100 equals 50h. So then you ask yourself, what number times 50 gives me 100? Well, think about it like this. You have a full dollar. You split it into two. Oops. How many half dollars gives you a full dollar? And well, Mr. Counter sort of gave you that answer. 2 equals h, or h equals 2. And then do the same thing for the other 3 problems. And then once you get to your answer, your answer would be, if we go back up, it'd be h equals something. And x equals something. B equals something. A equals something. In this case, h is 2. That's your first answer. And then list down your other 3 answers. Now, some more polygons. Well, this one, what you're going to do is the following. You're going to set up, and set it up to, there's a couple ways you could possibly set this up. You could say first figure, which is the one, this is the first figure, 1 on the left. Second, that's the 1 on the right. And then there's actually 4 ways you could, 4-way table you're going to set this up. So then the first, I'm going to write this as width, length, width, length. So you can go width, length, and then insert appropriately. So the width of the first one, 10. Length of the first one, sorry, cursive letter L, 16. And then width of the first one, 15. And then length of the second, 24. And then the way you can determine whether or not these two are similar, you can do one of 2 ways. You could either do your diagonal multiplication, does 15 times 16 equal 10 plus 24. Or you could simplify both of these fractions. What can you simplify 10 over 16 down to? Or what can you simplify 15 over 24 down to? And if it's the same value on both sides, when you do your multiplication, same value both sides, then they are similar. But if they're different values, then they're not similar. Now, number 4 is going to be the same thing. This one, we can determine whether or not they're similar, but you have to look at the angles. Look at angle markings. So we notice that A is a single, B, that's the double arc, C is the triple arc. So we kind of went in this direction. So this is triangle A, B, C. And then 1 to 2 to 3. Oops, 1, 2, 3. X, Y, Z. Now this one, we'd have to look more at the sides. you can get that from positioning of the letters of the triangle. We see that AB, the sides AB, and then this is what you could do. Take your ABC, and then take your XYZ, and we're going to deal with this a little bit in class. And then what you can do is, so look at your similar sides. Take your first two letters, AB. They correspond with the first two letters on the bottom, XY. Then you have to look at BC. BC corresponds to XY, it's now YZ. And then finally, it's from C to A, so we go back from C to A. And that side corresponds to ZX. And then you can just insert your values. But the reason why we can set it up this way, it all goes back to the order. If you get the order, then you know exactly which sides are going to be similar to which other sides. So which sides of the first triangle are similar to which sides of the second triangle. And then so on. And also similarly with the angles. Notice angle A, angle X. Single arc, B and Y, double arc, C, Z, triple arc. And then you could determine whether or not, so you just look at the, well, you'd have to insert all sides. So 10, 14, 12, over 5, 7, 6, and then you have to check it for all three simplified to the same value. If that's the case, then yeah, they're similar. If not, then no, not similar. So check that out. Okay, number 5 is going to be similar. Now again, notice the order. You can go JKLM. But then remember, you look at that order. So you can say JKLM. And in this case, that's a quadrilateral. And then you have P, Q, R, S. Now, happens, they give us, so we have L to M. This side right here is L to M. So that's L to M. And JKL L to M corresponds to R to S. So those two correspond to each other. And similarly, S to P, remember S to P, that's going to be on the bottom. That corresponds to M to J, which is on the top. Now there is more than one way we could have set this up. We could have set this up as LM over MJ, and that's equal to RS over SP. That's the other way you could have set that. So there's more than one way we could have set this one up. In this case, we set it up as for left polygon, the one on first, second, oops, no, 2, 1, and then longer, shorter side. You could have done it that way. You could also went longer, shorter, 1, 2. That could have worked as well. There's multiple ways. Of course, we know LM is 15. R to S is 9. S to P is 6. But we don't know this last guy. But now you have your setup. You can find it. And then last but not least, number 6. Now here, even though it's different direction, start from the top, go across. This is J, K, L, M. Now you have to turn this around to make it look more like the other one. So you're kind of going in the opposite direction. You're first heading towards the slant from the top. So this is actually going to be P to Q to R to S. Kind of going in the opposite direction as this one. Because you're either going straight down or you're heading across. Since we first decided, okay, we're going to go across, you have to go across. Even though it looks like you want to go down, but you have to go across. And then across, match up your letters, match up your sides. So see, okay, J to K. We're going to match J to K up. So this is going to be so here you can set it up as left polygon, right polygon, and then this would actually be smaller, larger. So then we start with the left. The smaller side was JK. And then the right, the corresponding side, actually PQ. And then we also have K to L, so that's the longer side. F, left for that L, right, and then SL, smaller, larger, and then Q to R. That's the corresponding side for the right polygon. And then from here we know, oh, J to K, it's in, P to Q, Z, K to L, 15, Q to R, 6. And that's more or less how you would do this activity. Thank you. Best of luck.